Welcome once again. Today what we're going to do is have a quick look at weathering. Now I'm by no means an expert of this, however, we have discovered some fantastic products called Dirtydown, which I'll take you through on here. Unfortunately, as always, a UK supplier, but it's this stuff is superb. Called Dirtydown. It's water soluble, it's transparent, you can clean it off, and it does exactly pretty much what it says on the tin, which is make things look rather dirty. I've already done a test drive. I've already done the first R2 with it, just to have a little play around with it. I'm using three colours, which is black, dark brown, and ash brown, ash blonde, sorry. And effectively, what you do is spray it on and wash it off. There's a couple of different ways that you can use it, and I'll try and take you through a couple of the different things that I've experimented with. But it's very, very simple. Yeah, it is a little bit messy, so I'm doing it in the workshop, so I'm not too bothered about the floor, etc. But I would recommend that you at least try and clean things. It will wash off and things like that. Some of it can dye slightly, but again, just try and choose your space in which you want to. So I'll start with the back panel just to kind of give you a bit of a flavour. I'm going to use the black first of all. It's not a rattle can. It's actually just it's got stuff in but doesn't rattle around. And all you want to do is just apply a very light misting, as you can see here. Now the black is good. It does tend to, I guess, look a little bit false, so I don't apply a lot of black. The dark brown is probably, for me, the best colour, the one that really starts to look a little bit dirtier. And I like the dark brown, so I'm just going to apply again a little mist of dark brown over it, and then finally a little bit of ash blonde. Now I wouldn't worry too much at this stage that you're overdoing it, because as I said, it does clean off quite nicely. But what you've got a real sort of mucky dark. I do tend to keep the bottom bits a little bit dirtier. You can also go a little bit closer on certain parts and just do close the bits. And as you can see, you start to get some pooling details in there, which actually look quite nice on some of the lower elements. So I'm just going to give it something like that. And as you can see now, that's starting to look quite dirty. Now this quite obviously looks like it has been sprayed if you look at it closely. So the next stage of Dirtydown is just to take a cloth and literally start to clean it up a little bit. And this starts to give you the more of the look that you want to look at. If you breathe on the cloth, what you get actually is the cloth starts to take, just the dampness in your breath starts to take a little bit more off. And it's difficult to see on the video, not to show you on the video, but you can actually breathe on the paint as well, just to give it a little bit of moisture. And what you do then is you start to, as you can see, pull it back to the white colour, but still leaving the grime in the details. So a little bit of a rub off like that, and then finally I've got some exceptionally fine wire wool, and this can be used just to lift the paint back again and blend in just around some of the edges. So what you end up with actually is quite a nice and very subtle approach in there. I mean, that's just a very quick, as you can see, quick approach to that. Now likewise, we'll just continue with that wire wool, and we just rub the wire wool lightly over the surface, just to start to blend it back to the white. And this is the finest gauge of wire wool that I could find, so it shouldn't scratch your paintwork. It's literally just taking the surface dirt off, and you just continue like that all over the droid. the surface, and the bits where we closed, if you imagine where we sprayed a little bit closer and you started to get some patches in, it gives you some quite nice details that sit around there. So hopefully there you can start to see that first part of the panel. Now in true Blue Peter style, what I'll do is I'll just finish off going over this panel with breathing on the panel to put a bit of liquid, a bit of moisture on the paint, wiping it over, and then just going over it with some steel wool. No, very, very, very simple techniques, and as I said, this is only the second time I've used it, but it's great stuff. Okay, so as you can see, that's just the first running over of that panel with the three colours. So black on first, very, very light, a little probably a bit more brown, and then finish off with the ash blonde. And what that does really is it kind of just nicely finishes off the panel. And again, you can take that back a little bit more. The wire wool gives you a really nice blend, in particular around the edges of the panel, to make sure that it's not too stark. And again, if you just want to breathe on it to add some moisture, it starts to allow you to remove it. If you spray it in a little bit closer, you get this kind of nice pooling dotted effect that you see in the coin returns there and there, and also a little bit around the power coupler port. So yeah, there we go. That's the first part of the droid. What we'll probably do now is I'll move on to the wire. Okay, just giving it once more a rubbing over with a little bit of the white wool, which again now you can start to see what I think is pretty much kind of where I want it to get to. Not too heavy, but it really does give a nice finished weathering. I've got to say it probably looks a little harsher on the video than it does in real life, a little bit smoother in real life, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the rest of the droid and what I'll do is I'll apply it, and then we'll do a similar okay, we're outside now in glorious Technicolor, and what a beautiful day actually. But what we're going to do now is just give this a good spray in all over in the three colours, and see if we can get that first layer of the three colours in. I'll be doing a little bit darker towards the lower end of the feet and obviously the skirt, and then from that we'll rub it back. I will probably do the spraying off camera because I can't hold the camera and the spray can at the same time. Okay, that's the base coat done now. Just a quick walk now just to kind of show you where we've sprayed it all. Coated everything. Not too dark, but to be honest, I'm probably going to add to some other bits once I've got that basic rubbiness put in there. But overall, looking better already, but that just looks like it's been sprayed. Right, I'm moving back inside now because we're just going to do the last little bits of finishing off. Just add the ash blonde, and then what I'll do is I'll start to rub him back. Tried to. It was a pretty nice day actually today, but I've got to say it is very difficult even with the slightest of breeze. It's such a fine spray that it can very easily wander off when you're spraying R2. So if possible inside, but again, fumes wise, you want to make sure you're in a very safe environment, or you're wearing a suitable respirator. Okay, we'll just do a little bit more technique so you can kind of see just where I've used it. Again, no expert by any stretch, just playing around with it to be honest. So you can see where you spray in a little bit closer, you start to get a lovely speckled effect. It still looks sprayed. What I'm going to do now is just breathe on it. Okay, just breathe on that bit there, just add a bit of moisture. And then I'm just going to rub it. And as you can see, what the breathing does is it lifts it, and you kind of get you get quite a contrasted when you start to breathe on it, and it does give it more of a sort of ingrained dirt look. So do that again. So breathe gently on that, rub your rag over, and you kind of get that ingrained dirt look. Now that is different than using the wire wool. So if you use a wire wool and you just gently go over it, you get a much kind of blended clean look. And to be honest, I think when you combine the two, what you can do is you can take some of the more contrasted edges of the weathering away with the wire wool, so it doesn't quite look as artificial, and then you can breathe on it to get some more of that ingrained feature bits of dirt, kind of like that there, and then just take it back a little bit with the wire wool, and then you do start to get the desired look which you want. So again, I've just done a little bit more breathing, a little bit more wire wool in, and it starts to get the level that I want. I'm not after a completely filthy R2 at this one. I just want some very natural, very light weathering on him, so it doesn't quite look the whole brand new straight out of the factory. Again, just taking him back, take it back smoothly, and it just gets rid of that kind of I've just sprayed it look. It tends to happen as well if you just do it lightly, as you maintain some of the detail of the grain, so you can kind of see it there. But to be honest, have a play with the stuff, but it is not scary, because you can pretty much take it straight back to white. It won't come back to factory clean, but you can take it back to something that isn't far off where you need it to be. So as you can see now, if we take it back a little bit, that's starting to give me the shadows and the panels and the detail. True live video style. What we'll do now is we'll probably just do a little bit in around the restraining bolt to see if we can pull the detail of that out a little bit. What I'm going to do is just gently give a bit of a spray around it just to get the outline. There you go. And then I'm just going to, again, just do it a little bit underneath it like that. And what I want to try and do also is to get that kind of, that look that you see. So put the restraining bolt back on it, twist it a few times. So it does look like it's been pulled off and on a few times, or it's been welded on. And then what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to start to take the restraining bolt piece back. So it's kind of like that, so you start to get the actual colour. And then I'm just going to let that dry, and what I want to try and get is some strands coming down, so I'll show you how we do that in a second. Okay, right, what we've done there, unfortunately it didn't run the camera while I was doing that. I've got some dark brown, ash brown that I've mixed, and I'll just show you the technique. What I've been really doing is where I want that to drip down is to just draw little lines of it and let it drop down. And then as it started to drop down, what we've been doing is grabbing the cloth and just taking the energy out of them little balls there. So the little pools, just remove the pools, so what you end up with is a kind of a little look like that. Now that obviously, in the grand scheme of things, is quite a large amount. And then what we do then is we just take the wire wool and we're just going to fade it off, fade it out, trying to still keep the detail. But just gently sort of fade that out like that. So give me 2 seconds. I've finished now with the wire wool, and as you can see, we've pretty much faded it right back. What I am going to do now is just give it another very slight spraying with the dark brown, just to see if I can actually get that that outside back again. So just a little touch around it like that. There we go. So now that's kind of where I want it to be. So you can see it again, that's kind of working, it's kind of coming up there now. Again, I'll take the cloth and I'm just going to start to take that back again once more, just to get the effect that I want. This is the beauty of this stuff, is you can put it on and you can take it off again. And your wire wool will almost knock it straight back to the paint. You have to be a little bit careful with some of the colours, because they do give you that off. They can sometimes stain the paint a little bit, but with some careful cleaning and a little bit of rubbing, there we go. So, and I'm quite liking that actually, to be honest. And there we go. So overall, that's nice. I'll probably I'll let that dry and I will take that back a little bit just to take the edge off it, but overall I'm happy. Okay, so again, there we go, that's the, let's move it back a little bit. There's your retaining bolt in its all its splendour. We take the retaining bolt off, you can see underneath the location obviously that it was, and level wise and detail wise I'm quite happy with that, particularly when it's on. I mean it does actually look quite nice, and I like the kind of oil, dripped oil sort of look to it. So overall, just a little bit of how you can perhaps use some of this stuff, and it's, I guess less is more in a lot of these cases. This is probably more weathered than some people like it, and it's probably not quite as dirty as some people do. So I say I'm going for a lightish look. So overall, that front panel now, I'm getting where I want to. Okay, well that's probably just about 20-25 minutes of just rubbing him over with the cloth, damp cloth, or breathing on the cloth, should I say, or breathing on the bodywork, and then just giving it the little bit of the wire wool to sort of blend it all in. So hopefully now you can sort of see how it works. As I said, it's the second time or second droid that I've done with this stuff, so I'm by no means an expert, but the material is incredibly forgiving, and it gives a really nice and very, very natural effect. And you can kind of see, you know, if you look at some of the detail on the feet, you've got that lovely ingrained dirty look with an overall blended sort of patch, very, very natural, with little details around the edges, etc. And if you want to add the details with the brushes and just experiment a little bit on how we do dropping it down. Again, it's water soluble, so it does wipe off. I think the ash blonde and the brown potentially can stain a little bit, but to be honest, I've not had any major sort of issues with that on this one or the other droid. So your choice really, I guess, on whether you want to take the brave step of aging the droid. I'll do a little bit more work on this, but I just wanted to show you or share with you as I experimented with some of this kind of stuff. You can hear the printer in the background. Let's have a quick. There you go. We're just printing the body for this little fella. So when he's ready, no doubt we'll be sharing those designs. But yeah, so just wanted to really experiment a little bit, try this stuff. What I would do actually is I'll put some around the shoulders. I'll probably spray them a little bit closer so you get that kind of grained effect. I'll do some in the shoulder hubs, and I'll just probably add a few more details, but effectively I just wanted to put something together that will let you at least share my experience before taking the plunge yourself in actually starting to weather your models. So that's pretty much it. I've got to say that Dirtydown are sending me a full set of their products, so once we get that, I'll do another video which just shows you some of the other different effects that they can get in there. They've got some rust and they've got all sorts of bits and bats, but hopefully that's been useful. And we'll just take a zoom back and keep moving so you get to see the overall effect. Yeah, we're happy with that. That's good. Right, thank you. Enjoy and continue printing. Look forward to the interview with Billy Brooks on the 14th of April. Feel free to support all the projects with Patreon, as I know many of you probably do already. And look forward to speaking to you all soon. Signing off.